Okay. We should be live across the internet. I will give it 15 seconds to propagate. Let people get on. Guys, we got Nick here from Nick, are you from Minnesota? Where are you from?
No, I'm originally from Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Doing something we all yearn to do. He looks young. He's not even retired. But
Very young.
yeah, guys, this is gonna be a really interesting story tonight. So if you're tuning in, you got a good one here. Phone lines will be open. Chat room will be live. If you have a question for Nick, feel free to ask him. All right, Jed, you ready? Jesse, you ready?
Ready.
Sure.
All right, Nick, I'm gonna throw you on mute. Okay, I will. When I introduce you, that's when it's when you will be live. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, Chad and Jess, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You wanna know how to find it, seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. Come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. If you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8:30, which means it's once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name is Scott Burks. We have our co-host Shorty Nits in the next room.
Hello.
Hello. And please welcome to my virtual left, my other co-host, Chaz427.
Howdy, all. Personal challenges are the best challenges, and this one is a doozy.
This is a doozy. Tonight's episode 788, recorded live on October 18th, 2023, is the Cache Across America with Magplanner.
Not to be confused with Cache Across America.
Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 808-468-7924. That's 808-GOT-SWAG. And for your international calls, you can call us free via the web at callinstudio.com/show/GCPC. But first, Chad, before we get to this ridiculously cool story, we got to talk about Patreon.
Got to pay those bills.
It's October, Chad. We know what that means.
It's bill time.
It's bill time. It's October. October's bill time. Guys, there's two ways you can help us out. You go to paypal.me. That's paypal.me/thegeocaching podcast. You make that one-time donation, $5, $50. I don't care. Go straight to the bills. Don't even see it. So, it helps, especially right now. Or, Chad. Or you join Patreon.
Ooh, you get anything with that?
You do, Chad. Thanks for asking. On that paywall, Chad, you get extra audio, extra video only available to our Patreon members. You get stickers and coins and pad tags and pins. You get patron-only shows. You get the patron-only giveaway. End of the year patron giveaway. I'm starting to prepare for it. It's already time, Chad.
Yeah, our favorite patron show of the year.
Yes, it's already time to start preparing for that. I got to start preparing for December. December is a crazy month for the podcast. We got, we've got the end of the year show. We got the giveaway show. We got the listener, the one up me, not the one up me, the listener contest. I got all that stuff I got to prepare for. So guys, back to it. Patreon. Help us out. Really appreciate it. Join patreon.com. That's patreon.com/thegeocaching podcast.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Cachly. Cachly is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachly has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more info at cachly.com. That's CACHLY.com.
Tonight, we're also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook made with genuine write-in-the-rain paper. The logbook designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who would rather go cache than do cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com.
And by the Max Suds Body Company. Max Suds Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Bee Gone soap, itch spray, and 2-cent choices of bug spray are all great for outdoorsy enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Suds Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxsudsbody.com. That's MACSUDSBODY.com.
And by Practical Geocaching. Practical Geocaching sells utility items for geocaching. Our items are made in the USA, and we always provide free shipping. Find them at practicalgeocaching.com. That's PRACTICAL geocaching.com.
And by Arted Crafted. Arted Crafted creates unique geocaching themed tees and custom designs for you or your geocaching group. With adult sizes ranging from small to 5XL, if you have an idea for a shirt design and cannot find it, then you've gone to the right place. Give them the opportunity to show you how they can enhance your caching experience with your own custom design. Visit them at artedcrafted.com. That's ARTEDCRAFTED.com.
And by pattags.com for all your swag and pat tag needs. Visit our website to get creative help, to trade our log tags, or to purchase your own personalized pat tags. With over 49,000 tags to collect, pattags.com is everything you need to start your pat tag obsession. Visit them at pattags.com. That's PATHTAGS.com.
And by Geocaching Adventures LLC.com. Geocaching Adventures is a full-service travel agency specializing in creating the ultimate worldwide geocaching adventures for cachers and non-cachers alike. What could be better than having your geocaching bucket list vacation all planned and led by a traveling expert? Learn more by visiting us at Geocaching Adventures LLC.com. That's Geocaching Adventures LLC.com.
And finally, by GeoGo. Go caching with GeoGo, the geocaching app for Android that includes a Where I Go player, trackable scanner, companion watch app, and County Finds database. If you're an advanced geocacher, GeoGo helps with powerful features like nearby cache notifications, optimized routes, offline mode, bulk TB logging, and much more. Learn more by visiting them at geogo.com. That's GEOOH-go.com.
And as always, Chad, you can find links to our sponsors on our website or
in our show notes.
In our show notes. Thank you, Chad. That's really got it. We got no news or email this week, so we're gonna get right into this, guys. It's a pretty interesting show tonight, guys. We have got. I'm gonna start with this. So I get an email, roughly about a month ago. I'd say about a month ago. I get an email from a listener. It says, "Hey, have you heard about this guy who's trying to do all of the pages and counties of the lower 48? And he's trying to do it in a year." I said, "No." He said, you got to find this guy. He just started." And so I contacted Nick, the guy who's doing it. And I said, "Would you love to come on the show?" And he said, "Absolutely." And he got him on. So Nick, first of all, I want to welcome him, everybody. Please welcome Magftplanner to the show. Nick, hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing well. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing
well.
good.
So did I get anything wrong there? Let's start with that. In
No,
terms of what
you
you're
got
doing.
it all right.
Okay, so let's everybody, let's try and absorb this and understand what he's doing here. You were trying to do in 1 year. Okay, you were trying to do all of the pages and all of the counties in the lower 48, in the
And
continental,
sharing a daily video along the way.
and sharing a daily video on YouTube, guys. A daily video. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna start with, how many days in are you today? What is today?
Today was 110.
110. So you're a third of the way through.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
How do you feel a third of the way through before we get into your whole story?
So I planned this trip based on what I'm capable of on a normal geocaching trip, which is, a week to 10 days. And I've been holding that pace just fine. And that pace is great for a week or 10 days, but for 3 to 4 months, it's pretty exhausting.
I can't even imagine. I will say right now, my wife is ridiculously jealous of you because she would love to be doing what you're doing right now.
Very much so.
And I promise you, she will be contacting you when you're done explaining, share your information on how you did this. So let's start from the very, very, very beginning. Your name is Nick. How long have you been geocaching for?
I started geocaching in 2010. Right after I left after duty, I went to Bahrain on a trip and I found a geocache there, and it immediately appealed to me. It was the perfect transition for me from what I was doing in the Marine Corps, traveling all over the world, to giving me a reason to still continue to travel all over the world.
Nice. You are married, correct?
I am.
No kids, I'm assuming.
I have 2 kids.
Oh my god, 2 kids, and oh my goodness.
Wow.
I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, and both of them really like to watch YouTube videos. So seeing all the YouTube people they watch, I was like, oh, I can do that.
Now, anybody listening to this at work the next day, or 6 months from now, or 5 years from now, Nick, you'd think Nick's in his like 50s, 60s, or 70s. He's not.
Mm-mm.
Nick is a young lad here. Nick is young. So, Nick, I'm not going to ask you your age because that's not nice to do. But like, how are you? You got to explain to us how, before you get into how you did it, how did you get the time? How did your wife go? Yeah, go ahead. We'll see in a year."
So actually, I wanted to give a shout out to my wife anyway.
Yeah, I would.
She is a lovely, supportive wife who understands that even though she has no appreciation for geocaching, I love it. And she gave me the space to go ahead and get this done. And I asked her for a year, and she said, okay, you've got a year. And I really appreciate her giving that to me, and I'm making the most of it.
She gave you a year. Honey, can I have a year?
Thank you, honey. Much apprecited.
A year. All right.
So she just treated like an overseas deployment or something, and yeah, not going to be
I mean,
around.
essentially, yes. I was going somewhere every month or two. Up
when you were
until
active,
COVID.
it's active duty. You're talking about?
No, up until COVID.
Oh, up until COVID. Excuse me. Okay.
Even as a contractor, I was still going all over the map. But then during COVID, we proved that I could do everything I was doing all over the world from my computer at the office. And they said, oh, okay, well, you're not ever going to travel anywhere again. I was like, well, we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm. So just out of curiosity, so you started this in 2023, right? Correct? Yes.
Correct. So I started planning for it a full year ago.
A full year, 2022.
So between COVID, 2020, 21, nothing happened. And then in 22, I took a trip with one of my friends. We went through Europe. In 10 days, we did Ireland, the United Kingdom, and Iceland. We had a great time of it. And I got back and realized that if I went another year or two without getting to travel somewhere, I was probably going to go a little crazy. So that's where the first stirrings of this idea came from. I've always wanted to complete the States, but being able to do it in this style is a way that I can share it with my kids. They're not going to sit with me for 300-400 days, 300-400 miles a day on the road.
Oh, no.
But this way I can share with them, hey, here's the interesting sites we see along the way and the cool things. And to me, the geocaches are secondary. I definitely feature those in the channel because, geocachers want to see them. But when I'm seeing the really cool places that the States have to offer, that's always my primary focus. And when there's not a lot of those cool places, then I put more geocaches into the day's footage.
Yeah, I can imagine some days you're just not seeing anything cool.
Yeah, if anybody's been watching Nebraska for the past week, they've pretty much been geocaching videos, and there's a reason for that.
And so, oh my, that's so many questions. So let's back up here. So have you always been a pages guy and a county guy, or is this new? Like, a lot of people focus on that. Like,
so first of all, I'm the owner for the Florida Delorme Challenge.
Okay.
So I definitely support the Delorme challenges, even though Delorme's not a thing anymore. They got bought out by Garmin in 2015. The Delorme headquarters is gutted. It's becoming Garmin now. So really, the Delorme pages are a dying thing. You do the challenges now, or you don't do them, because once they get archived, they won't be coming back.
Right.
But I started the game in 2010. I found out about the counties within about 6 months. And by October of that year, we were working toward completing Florida. And then I set it as my goal to complete one state a year. I consistently met or beat that every year, right up until COVID. And then I had to take a break for a year or two and didn't complete states at the level I was doing it.
Mm-hmm. So you've always been that kind of a guy.
I like the travel.
Your niche has been that.
Definitely getting to new places. And that was one of the hard parts of COVID too, because I couldn't get on an airplane and go somewhere. It was an 8-hour drive to the nearest new county. There was no trail system or waterway within the city within a couple hours that I hadn't kayaked or hiked my way through at any point.
Mm-hmm. So this is nothing new to you then. This is not crazy, because this is what you want to do. And so at some point you decided, I'm going to try and do the continental United States.
When my wife and I got married, we'd kind of discussed, because she's Japanese, are we going to live in the States or are we going to live in Japan? And if we lived in one, we'd retire in the other. So we spent the first half of our kids' lives here in the States. It's about time for us to go to Japan. I don't want to be flying back to Japan every year trying to complete, okay, this year I'm going to go do Kentucky for 10 days. Let's get a ticket overseas to go do that. So I want to be done, finish all the states, have the map on the wall, and then start focusing on other countries.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. So you decide, so you bring this up to your wife. I would love to be a fly on the wall that day. You bring this up to your wife. You say, hey, I got an idea of what I want to do. How do you even approach your wife with this idea? I get it that she's understanding, but this is a big ask here. This is a huge ask.
I will say you probably would have wanted to be a fly in the wall in that room. And it was a pretty long discussion to get to where we are now. And actually one of those options was, doing it Wild Thornberry style. And hey, let's put the kids in an RV. We'll go around the country together. And I got the look that was like,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
But it was a nice thought.
Wow. And so obviously the kids are home. Is your wife stay home? Where's your wife?
So we sold our property in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And we're already in our house in Japan. So once I finish this trip, I'm flying to Japan and we're out.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Okay. So we're gonna back up again. So you ask. She agrees. This is a year ago, correct?
A year ago, yep.
And then
actually it's October now. This is like almost a year and a half ago now, but yeah.
Okay. So and you're currently, and at the time you were living in
Jacksonville, Florida.
How do you even begin to figure out how to plan this out?
Well, I'm a professional planner. So I've been planning on geocaching trips every year, multiple trips. In fact, my wife would travel to Japan every year for the summer. And I'd have a group of friends on an emailing list that as soon as like the day she bought the ticket, it'd be, okay, June 17th until August 17th, right? That same day, I had an email out to all the people on the list that would say, this weekend we're doing this 10 days we're doing this 4 days we're doing this. We have this many seats for each one who's going. And then we'd plan it out from there. So I used all of that knowledge from years of that, plus my professional knowledge. And I kind of put it together piece by piece. First thing is, how many miles can you do a day? For me, the answer is about 300 for a 12-hour day. That allows 20 to 30 geocache finds. And if you're talking about major hikes or adventures, then you have to scale down the miles and build in more time for that. Mm-hmm. You have to have a budget. So I took my budgeting data for 13 years. Fortunately, I was able to cut out flights, which are pretty expensive, and budgeting for gas, maintenance, things like that. And then it's just crawling across the map, the one geocache, one county, one page at a time. I created all my own custom maps. So that's what I display on all my videos, is I have the county maps with a Delorme page overlay. And you can see the counties underneath the Delorme pages. That way it's easier to plan at a visual and see, okay, well, if I'm in this page, I can hit these 3 counties within that page and kind of maximize my efficiency there. And that planning factor changes. If you're on the East Coast, the counties are small and the pages are big. So you're really focusing more on each of the counties, and you're only worrying about the pages around kind of the edges of the state where they can get a little weird. But once you go to the West Coast over the Rockies, the counties get big and the pages are comparatively small. So your planning factors flip. And so now you're planning almost exclusively on pages. And every now and then, like for example, in Nevada, there's 17 counties. Only one of those counties wasn't automatic with the pages. So you just have to know which area you're planning and which is the primary factor for that. And then once I had all that laid out into a base plan, which took quite a while, by the way, then it was just a matter of breaking it up.
So did you start out like on the East Coast and started working west, or how are you routing all this?
So I do not like snow. I have no intention of geocaching in the snow except when it's unavoidable. And there are a couple places where it's just going to be unavoidable.
Right.
So my primary routing consideration was the weather. I pulled up topographical maps, elevation maps, temperature maps over time to see where snow was likely to fall at what times. And I kind of planned my route so that I would be where I am now, dropping south as fall is turning into winter. And I will be down south by the time winter sets in, and hopefully be avoiding all that white stuff falling out of the sky.
Okay. So have you got the Pacific Northwest or the northeastern part? So I would assume you would have worked from one of those inward, since you're in Nebraska now.
So we started from Jacksonville, and when the family flew to Japan, their flight was out of JFK in New York. So funny enough, going all the way up the 95 from Jacksonville, Florida to JFK in New York, I literally did not need any counties, not one. So the whole way up there was just a family trip, do what we're going to do on the road. And then when we got to the airport and they got on the airplane, that was the first county that I needed to, all the way up in New York.
So you already pretty much had the East Coast done
East Coast
prior to
done.
starting your trip.
Yeah.
It was an 8-hour solid drive from Jacksonville to get to a new county. And the newest one would have been in Tennessee, at kind of a weird spot going westward. So, it wasn't going to start for this. We started in New York. And then from day one, I got to sleep at about 2 a.m. after dropping the family up. I was up by 6, and we were in New York Park, and we spent the first 2 days doing the 32 stage Bridges and Arches multi in New York Central Park. It was amazing. I'm not a multi
On the must-do list.
That's the huge one,
Yeah.
right? That's that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that Josh did.
Yeah.
I took a video on. Yeah.
I don't like multis by any stretch of the imagination. For me, geocaching is all about the travel and the adventure. So in that case, the multi appealed to me because it was the travel part. I'm going to get to see all these really cool spots in Central Park. So it just kind of worked out for what I was doing. From there, I went up through Connecticut and Massachusetts. As you may know, Connecticut recently reorganized their counties.
Yep.
So my almost complete Connecticut county map now had holes in it that shouldn't be there. So I went through some of those counties. I filled the holes again, and then went up to there from Massachusetts. Both were really short because Connecticut and Massachusetts are small states without a lot of counties in the first place, a couple days each. When I got up to Maine, my friend Skeletor 10 flew in and met me. So I was really only on my own for the first 2 weeks. And then I had a friend with me after that, and we did all of Maine together. And then the same day I dropped him off at the airport, I drove about 4 hours back to New York and picked up my friend Mom. And then we were all through the rest of July together in New York as well.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, so at least you
And
got company. Aside, what I should say, you do have a dog with you. Your dog is with you.
Yep, she's with me all the time, and if I leave the room, she's looking for me.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure she's gotten quite attached to you. But no, she's with you constantly.
No, she's actually a rescue dog. We got her right when we got to Jacksonville. She was about a year and a half. That was 13 years ago. So she's just a little past 15 now.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I was really starting to worry about her health. A little over a year ago, she was diagnosed with dementia, and she was pretty bad off. She was barking at the walls, rooting around and sleeping in places that you just can't sleep. She tore up every screen that touched our backyard. She ripped everyone to shred. And it took us a few weeks to learn. Simple trick to save our furniture is right before I went to work every morning, I'd put like a Home Depot box in the middle of the living room floor, and I'd walk out the door. And I'd come back every day, and that would be shredded to confetti. Because when she'd have an episode, she'd get destructive, and she'd see the box and go, "Oh, I'm going to get it." Amazingly, though, since we've been on the road, she hasn't shown any of that sign. It's
Really?
I don't know if it's just the fact that we're experiencing new things every day and
I
all the
bet
new
you.
smells, or she hasn't had any episodes like that.
Yeah,
That's
she's
great.
constantly being input. It's constantly getting
Constant input plus constant companionship.
Yep.
And
That's
she
great.
gets a lot of treats along the way. If I get anything with meat in it, she knows she's getting some. Guessing.
So you have a dog with you. So dogs are amazing. I have two. I love my dogs, but they do come with a little bit of, it's a little more of a challenge now, because now you got to find hotels, like you're in a hotel right now, that takes dogs.
So I'm very rarely in a hotel. I actually got a hotel tonight, A, for this podcast, and B, because I had an admin day coming up, and it kind of made sense for me to actually take my admin day and really do administrative stuff. So I got a hotel, but I can count on one hand how many hotels I've stayed in outside of the ones with Skeletor, 10, or Mimom.
Really? Are you
So what are you driving around in?
So I've got a Mazda CX-9, and a very good friend of mine in Jacksonville. He's a private contractor for like home construction type jobs. The man is a genius. I told him that I need to convert my car into a living space, and he whips out some papers. He's old school, so he still had like the protractor, some pencils, some drawings, and within like 20 minutes, he had this measured out thing that we could do, removing the seats from my car to build a base frame. And so that's what we did. I actually did an admin video where I showed it, but it lays out completely flat. My entire back space, when the seats rolled forward, I get about 6.5 feet in there, and it's flat all the way through. Underneath of each side, there are 2 panels, and those are my long-term storage type stuff. On one side of my car, I have plastic bins, and each of those plastic bins is sorted between clothing, dog stuff, food, things like that. And one side of the car is just for sleeping. Initially, I had the passenger seat set up so the dog would sleep there in the passenger seat, and I'd sleep in the back by myself. Yeah, well, the best laid plans, right?
You must have to keep yourself incredibly organized to like. I can't imagine. I know what it's like when we go camping for the weekend and we're not even sleeping in the car and our stuff ends up everywhere. So like,
Yes.
do you take time every day to like put things back and make sure everything's
Yes
needs to
and
be?
no. This is why admin days are important, because for the most part, I'm very much, this has to go here, this has to go there. But some of the bins I have to get things out of, I had to pull 2 or 3 out to get into it. It's just not worth it. So, okay, I'll tuck that here for now. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, there's a lot of things tucked around that car in places they don't belong. So at that point, I have to pull it all out and then put it all back in where it goes.
How many miles did you have on the car before this?
I started this trip at 85,000, and I just passed 120,000 today.
Wow.
So 35,000 miles in 3.5 months.
Wow. Are you getting regular oil changes?
Yeah, so that's one of those things I built into my plan. Every month is an oil change, and you know what? That's not really even often enough. In a month, I'm doing about 6,000 miles, and that's pushing it a little bit. And then every 3 months, I have a major maintenance plan. So actually, one of my tasks for tomorrow is to call and schedule ahead for next month to have a major maintenance where I can bring the car in, they can check the tires, all the engine stuff, anything that's not looking good, they can swap out. I just had one of those done when I was in not Oshkosh, Canton, Ohio, and they changed out all my tires for me there, which was great until I got a screw in it last night.
Oh no! Yeah, what happens? Have you woken up and the car hasn't started yet? Has that happened to you yet? Or like, car breaks down, the car won't start, battery's dead, flat
Why are
tire.
you still talking? Don't jinx me now. So far that hasn't been an issue.
I'll knock on wood for it. Hey.
I know it's going to happen eventually. And that's part of the planning too, is I plan float time in. I can lose a day or two if I have to. And right now I'm actually 2 days ahead of schedule. So if something like that were to happen,
You got
okay.
it. Wow.
All right.
Well, one of those days was because I messed up bad at the Minnesota State Star. The other day was a compression to make sure I was in a place where I could actually have signal. If I was 1 day behind, I'd be in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska right now. I doubt I'd have internet. It seems very unlikely.
So your car hit 85 when you got it. And then you said you're leaving, right? Like as soon as you're done, you're on a plane.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
you're
wait
still
until
gonna
I
have to-
finish to book the tickets. But yeah, it'll be sometime in June next year when I fly to Japan.
Where are you flying out of?
Most likely Los Angeles. Some of that depends on what I do with my car.
I was gonna say, like, what are you gonna do with the car? You're gonna try.
So the friend that helped me install the base for it,
Mhm.
I'm planning on somehow giving him the car,
Mhm.
assuming that A, it's in working condition by that time,
Mhm.
and B, I can figure out the way to get it across the country. But if nothing else, it's only a 3,000 mile drive. It's like a day and a half.
It's nothing
After what
after.
you've done, that's like nothing. Yeah, it's like on your head. Oh, I won't even sleep.
So when you started this, how many counties did you already have? And then how many counties have you added to that now?
So when I started this, I was at 1,596 out of 3,144, which is just slightly over half. I have not been doing a good job of tracking my progress along the way numbers wise, but my friend Me Mom has. Thank you, Me Mom. I know you're in the chat room. So she sent me my stats today because I just can't keep up with them. I'm currently at 2,126 counties complete out of 3,144. That pace is going to slow down a lot when I hit the West Coast because those counties are way
Yeah.
more.
Chad will tell you,
that's what
California.
I was gonna say. It's like I lived in Texas when I first started caching in the Houston area, and the counties are small. They're not the smallest, but they're really small. And I had a lot of counties in Texas. California, it's like I've got the majority of counties in California, but they're so big that
Like Imperial County down there in the south, it goes
Oh, yeah.
forever.
Mhm.
yes,
I think it covers like 8 or 9 Delorme pages through that one county.
Wow.
And I think Kern County might be the biggest physically in there, but yeah, they're big. Or no, Imperial. So Kern County is big, but not as big as Imperial. You're right. Yeah, they're so, and yeah, they're huge.
And so you're car camping, correct? Is what you're
Correct.
doing. Planet Fitness showering, something along those lines, or something similar to that.
So I got an Active and Fit membership. It's a little bit more expensive than the Planet Fitness Black Card,
Mhm.
but what it does is it allows you to use any gym that's in the Active and Fit program.
Oh, nice.
And most of the Planet Fitness locations are included in that. What I've discovered along the way, though, is I'm probably going to end up just getting a Planet Fitness Black Card because 90% of the time I go to Planet Fitness when I want to shower. The problem with all the other gyms is they're only staffed during very limited hours. So, for example, let's say 24-hour fitness. Most of those are only staffed between like 10 and 4, Monday through Thursday kind of thing. Well, in the summertime, the hours of 10 and 4 were also the hours where my dog would die if I left her in the car. So stopping in to take a shower was not quite worth it to me.
Right.
Whereas Planet Fitness, I could still slide in at 8:30 at night for
Sure.
a shower, and it was
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, sure. Wow.
Otherwise, you're going to be taking a shower at a truck stop.
Yeah. Well, it's not too bad. Those are
No,
actually
not
pretty nice.
too.
I've never done
Some
it.
of them are decent. Yeah.
I've heard some of them were nice. So you are car camping. You're
Yep.
car camping. Are you, good old Walmart parking lots or Cracker Barrels or where?
So Walmart's my absolute favorite. Most Walmarts are really good about letting people stay there. Sam Walton had a policy where if somebody was to stay at a Walmart, that's a potential customer. They're likely to come in the morning for coffee or snacks
Sure.
or something like that. And you know what? That's exactly what I do. My favorite fast food is Walmart because I can go in there and I can go pick up a salad, some yogurt, grilled chicken, a meal that I'm not going to feel terrible about eating afterwards, and something I can share with the dog.
Wow.
So you're not carbo loading at McDonald's.
No, but so Walmart's kind of my preferred staying place, but there's not Walmarts everywhere, especially not in some of those rural places. So it really depends state by state. One thing to note is a lot of these flyover states, I'd already covered them through the interstates. So I'd done the interstates, north and south, east and west. So pretty much all of the last month or so in these flyover states, every time I've come near an interstate, I don't use the interstate, I cross it and stay in the country. So rest stops have almost been non-existent for me. Wisconsin was one of my favorites because Wisconsin has wayside rest areas, and they allow you to sleep in your vehicles. So you pull into one of those many wayside rest areas. They're all over the state, and you can go to sleep anywhere. I featured a concrete sculpture park. It's also one of those wayside rest areas. It's open 24 hours. You can sleep there. So I slept with, hundreds of concrete horses watching me that night. They were judging me.
They were as they should have. I've got let's really quickly take a break here. We've got a load of questions in the chat room. I'm gonna fire some off at you. Okay.
All right.
Somebody chat room. Where in Japan you gonna be living?
I'm going to be moving near Tokushima. It's the biggest city near where I'll be, but I'm going to be pretty far out there in the country, an hour from the nearest train station, which,
wow.
if you know anything about Japan, that's as far as you can get from a train station.
So if our listeners are understanding, you're pretty much doing one cache per page or per county. Is that what
I prefer to grab at least 2 geocaches per county and page. One of my reasonings for that is way back when we did Georgia, Douglas County. So we found a geocache in Douglas County. It wasn't far across the county line. Then they did a little county reorganizing, and our find fell outside the line. And so then I had this one hole in Georgia near Atlanta that I was like, great, now I got to go 5.5 hours to get back up there for one county that I've technically already been to. So to prevent that, I prefer to get at least 2 options in every county and page, and I try not to get them near the line. That's not always possible. Some places there are literally only one option.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there might be 2 or 3 options, but there's really only one because the other two or three aren't maintained at all, and they haven't been found in years. So I do that more as the exception than the rule, is the one and dones. Usually it's at least 2 or 3, and it's generally geocaches that I've kind of hand selected, either because I like the location, there's a view, something like that, and if nothing else, then it's a park and grab just to get the county and keep moving.
Sure. Any megas planned on your year-long adventure here?
Yes, actually. It was definitely not a planning factor for me. It just happened to line up that I'm going to be in Southern California, Imperial County, at the very end of January. So there's a mega event there in Yuma going at the beginning of February. I'm going to be making that. And that's the only one that I have on my agenda right now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Listener wants to know if your dog has her own geocaching account.
She does not, but she has her own trackable, and she gets dipped everywhere she goes, and she's got a ton of miles.
The doggy's got legs.
But I can barely keep up with my own cache logging. I can't do hers too. I know she's not going to.
We'll get there. Someone says, give the car to GCHQ will be a great exhibit.
One more time.
Give the car to GCHQ, to HQ.
Oh yeah, let them talk to me. I'm all about this conversation.
It would be a great exhibit. Can you imagine putting that on exhibit? The car that traveled across the country.
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to be pretty beat up looking by then. Actually, funny story. The day that we were installing the base into the frame of the car, there was this big storm. It only lasted like 10 minutes. In Jacksonville, if it's raining really heavy, just wait for 10 minutes and it'll go away because it's always in burst, right?
Yep.
So there's like a 10-minute storm that blew through, and this tree branch rips off of this tree above us and goes boom, crashing down into the roof of my car. And so I have a big dent in the roof of my car right above the driver's side door, like 2 days before we started this trip. And it also bent the frame enough to mess with my latch a little bit.
Oh, no.
But, we could have been standing there. It just so happened that at that moment we moved away to go cut some other wood, and bam, that's when it happened. So it was, okay, yeah, this car is going to take a beating this year.
Somebody says, I've seen you place a lot of swag in caches that are empty. How much swag did you bring with you, or do you get it along the way?
So I take almost nothing from geocaches. I'd say a dozen things I've taken in the last 4 months, and I always leave something for them. My kids, as they grew up, they became less and less interested in the toys, as kids do. And so rather than getting rid of that, I collected it in my geocaching lab. And when it came time for this trip to happen, I filled an entire tub completely full of toys, packed to the max, as heavy as it could go. And everything else I gave out to the geocaching community at a Going Away event me mom hosted for me.
Nice.
And I'm about halfway through it now, but I intend to go all the way through it, and probably in the next few months. I'm liberal, though. I grab a whole handful and throw it in and just try and load them up, especially if it's an ammo can and it doesn't have a lot in it. It's going to when I leave.
Nice.
What are your eating habits? You eating a lot of fast food, or are you trying to be healthy? What's your eating habits on this trip?
So I really, really try and avoid fast food. Number one, I don't want to take down a financing plan for a Big Mac. It's like $14 and it's $16 if you get it with cheese.
Wow.
And number two, the price, it's not health wise. So I try and do the Walmart thing. I love that they got the variety of salads, so I can get a little bit of roughage there. I stick to things like that I can eat along the way. They're at least semi decent. And then I keep snacks in the car too, so it's not perfect. I have pretzels and things like that. But when I'm out in the country and I'm coming toward a big city and I'm only like 2 days away, I'll just kind of wane off eating for 2 days and then come into hit up their buffet and go to town.
Oh yeah, buffets must be your friend. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, especially the sushi
Oh, the
buffets.
hump, yeah.
I found
Oh,
some
yeah.
phenomenal sushi buffets, and by the time they bring me my receipt, they're just shaking their head like, "Oh, this is awesome."
You go now.
Today is a
Well,
loss.
yesterday I hiked 14 miles and didn't eat anything but a Slim Jim.
Do you just do traditionals, or are there any type of any other types included? Are you doing any adventure labs when you see them, or is it strictly just a traditional?
I do everything. So I aim for virtuals first and foremost. They're vetted. So I've kind of left out some of the virtuals that are less desirable that happen to stay around. But if it looks like it's going to be an interesting location, something scenic, historic, virtuals went first on the list. I did the same criteria with earth caches. If it looks like it's somewhere cool, awesome, I put it on the list. If it's an oxbow, I probably skip past it and move to the next one.
Yep.
And then I do all the caching types. So I've got where I goes. Multis, I kind of limit to 2 stages with very rare exceptions. I love letterboxes, orienteering style. I will go out of my way for an orienteering style letterbox. It looks pretty good. And then the harder terrain, the higher terrain stuff, I've kind of left off for the most part, unless I have to for the county or the page. But I haven't put a lot of that on there. But otherwise, I'm pretty open to most geocache types.
So you're not going for Cache Across America caches or oldest in the county or excuse me, oldest in the states. You're not even that's not on your radar.
But I've already finished the Cache Across America series.
Of course you have.
So the Cache Across Americas that I found have been the republications, and oh yeah, I aim for them. If I see there's a Cache Across America within 10 miles, oh, I'm going for it.
What about the oldest in the states?
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm at 44 right now.
That's awesome.
So there's only a few left to go. But I have every state's oldest identified on my list and some of the other oldest in the states as well. So by the time I'm done with this, the only one that's going to be left is Alaska, which I'm going to circle back on, of course.
So have you pulled like 1 million GPX files, or you got someone feeding you GPX files? How are you keeping track of all this, or did you just sit down with maps and start plugging them in and storing them, the ones that you want to focus on?
I think I may be old school in my planning method. I know that there's automated tools out there to do it. And Skeletor 10 was preaching on one of the ones he used. And actually, he planned a portion of our trip coming up in Texas. So we'll see how well that works. But from his other trips, it sounds like the timing's good. For my part, I use an Excel spreadsheet, really old school style.
Wow. Really?
And I put, they're actually linked on all of my YouTube descriptions. You can go to the links to them. I'm usually a state or 2 behind because I don't want to project where I'm going to be. I'm fine with telling you guys where I've been, but I don't want you guys to know exactly where I'm going until I've already been there. Yeah, so I'm putting them out as I complete the states, and you can actually see the detail that goes into every single day per state. But essentially what I did is GC code, title of the cache, and then I broke it down by the county and the page, and then for my own reference, the city that it's located in. And a lot of those are blank because there's a lot of rural stuff that's not in cities. But that gave me that reference. And at the end, I have my own personal notes, so I know things like no dogs allowed. So, if the weather's no good, I can't bring the dog, but on a cool 50-degree day, I can leave her in the car and go grab something and she'll be fine in there. And then I put notes on there for things that are more interesting or things I might likely skip. So kind of my own system there. And then I have a highlighting scheme too, where everything that's highlighted in gray is the first geocache in that county or the page. So I need to hit something within that section before the next gray one. And then anything that has that light green highlighting is a must-do target. I will cut and clip and do what I need to do to get to that geocache. For instance, all of the state county challenges, all of the state Delorme challenges, those Cache Across Americas, webcams, those are all highlighted in green.
Okay.
So you're not daily looking. You have tomorrow. I'm just kidding. Let's go. You have 2 weeks from now planned out already.
Oh,
correct?
I've got the whole year planned.
You got the whole. Yeah, that's on my point.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, okay.
so you're not.
I
You're not going like, all right, tomorrow. Like I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna hit this. You already know what you're hitting. It's already done.
Kind of.
More or
So, the problem with planning out a full year's worth of geocaching, 9,000 plus targets, is it's impossible to really remember it all.
Mhm.
So what I do is I've got it planned out, timed and everything. Each day before I do my opening, I review that list of targets and I kind of refresh myself on what this was, what that was, what's coming up. And so I'm usually in my mind only a day or two ahead on what's coming up and knowing, but the whole year is planned out. And I've been sticking to it pretty well. I make all my timings on my days pretty much right where I want them. And then, like I said, I'm 2 days ahead. So there's been a couple opportunities to push some stuff out of the schedule and get ahead to where I want to be.
And so, are you even opening the app, or do you even need the app? The geocaching app is what I'm talking about.
I use CGO.
Okay, so you are opening an app to see.
Yeah.
Like,
So
okay.
I've got, and this is one of my failings where I need my admin days. I have all of my targets in GSAC, and I have those as an export that I put onto both of my phones because I have a primary and a secondary. If one's failing, I need a secondary phone, or I do multiple things at the same time. And then that I have my user notes in there, so I know what county and page everything falls into. And that GSAC export also lets me look at the map with just my targets, so I can kind of see where I'm going, and I can enable Alive to see everything else that's around it. And then once I have my my export, the problem is that I'm not keeping up on my admin days. So, you know, geocaches have problems. The logs are missing, or they're muggled, or whatever. I haven't done a refresh on my database and checked back through my targets in like a month and a half now.
Well, so it could be archived.
So the further I come along in my plan, the more often I'm encountering archive disabled and issues as I'm refreshing pages. And it hasn't cost me any major time now. I've been able to make up for it with live targets, but I think it's going to be a problem the longer I go. So I have to catch up and make sure that I'm going back through that list and swapping out targets that may not be eligible anymore, especially on those places where there's only one thing to choose from.
So you've had targets been archived. You've had it. It's happened already.
Oh yeah, we've had targets that are archived, and actually we found a couple of those too. There was one target in Maine where I said, "Oh, it's archived. We're moving on." Skeletor 10 says, "No, I'm reading this page. This CO just didn't want to do maintenance. We're going to find it
there."
All right, let's go get it." And sure enough, there's the geocache. Skeletor 10's giving me that. I told you so.
Have you gotten an FTF yet, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
I've actually gotten 2.
Nice.
So I got one with Skeletor 10. He's much better at live maps than I am. He's constantly doing those searches. So whenever we pull into a Walmart parking lot for gas, something like that, he's like, "Hey, there's one 200 feet over there." I'm not as good at that. So I got the one with him that he led. And I happened to get lucky about a week ago. As I was going through Nebraska, I was looking at the target that I had for this county was one of those ones that was, having issues now. So I had to look at other options that were available in the county, and I pulled up this page and there's no logs on it. I'm like, well, that can't be right. It says it was published in June. I click a refresh, nothing comes up. I click a refresh, nothing comes up. I'm like, wait a minute. This cache has been sitting on the map for 4 months and nobody's FTF'd it.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Do you do any cache maintenance when you come across it?
Absolutely. So I've got, just like I've got that container full of swag, I have a container full of geocaches. Same exact thing. I packed the whole crate as full as I could, micros, smalls, regulars, everything in between, every kind I could manage to squeeze in there. And then once I ran out of room, I brought all the rest of it to my going away event, and I gave it to the geocaching community out there in Jacksonville. And I saved those containers mostly for counties and pages that don't have a lot of options. Because what happens to a lot of those places is those are really far out there spots most of the time. And the caches that are placed there are normally placed by somebody who's aware of the challenge, and they want to make sure there's something there. And so they place it, and then 6, 7, 8 years later, it goes missing. And they're, I'm not driving back out there. And I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't want to drive back out there either.
Right.
So that's where cache maintenance really comes into play for me. I think it was just yesterday. I didn't put out the video yet. I found there were 2 geocaches in the county, and in one of them I found half of the bison. Well, there's a full bison there now. Problem resolved. The county is still eligible.
So it's already 9:20. We have not even touched your videos.
Oh,
So
well,
let's tweak it.
before we go
Oh,
there,
wait, Chaz.
so do you navigate with like a Garmin Newbie, or do you just use the phone, or you use like offline maps and drive yourself to it? How do you navigate?
So I have 2 Samsung Galaxy S7s.
Mhm.
Both of them are identical. They just have different cases. I have offline maps saved to both of them, as well as my offline target list. So that way, when we're in places where there's no internet signal, like that northwest corner of Maine, the internet just is never going to make it there. We can still see the maps and we can still see the targets. When you have no data at all like that, you can't get auto routing. So you have to at least be able to look at the road on the map and go, okay, well, if we go that way and that way, maybe we'll go
Okay,
there.
so you go old school mapping as opposed to using a Newbie as a backup.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like to do when I plan out my megas and stuff like that is put everything into a Garmin Newbie, and that way I could basically pop in the GC code there and boom, and off we go, and I don't have to deal with internet outages. I've got routing telling me where to go as opposed to using old school maps. But I like going old school maps. I can do that if I need to. But yeah,
I like the combination because I do use auto routing for my targets, but I don't trust the auto router. Just today, in fact, I need to get to a rest area, and it was not bringing me to the rest area. I knew
yeah,
better.
yeah. So sometimes you do have those issues, and it's like I will go to the end of the routing and see, is that near the cache? No, that's not. It's taking me over on the wrong side of a river or something. Yeah.
So when it comes to money, are things more expensive, less expensive, on par with what you assumed it was going to cost?
Gas wise, I'm actually coming slightly under budget, but food wise, I'm going over because I planned food on 2020 prices, and those are not 2023 prices.
All right, so let's talk real quick about, because guys, Nick does daily videos. Okay, so Nick, what time do you go to bed at night? Just curious.
Usually about 10ish.
Okay, what time do you get up?
4.
Wow.
Yep.
4 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
And in that day, you video the entire day using what's your camera of choice?
GoPro 11.
GoPro 11. Okay, and then you get back to the car, not a hotel room, guys. He gets back to the car. And now you have to, and I know what this is like. I do this all the time. You have to download the videos and then edit the videos. And you do this from a laptop sitting in your car, correct?
Correct. There have been a few times where I've had a great spot where I could sit out and enjoy the view, like when we were at the ferry terminal in New York. That was amazing.
Right.
But when I'm in a Walmart parking lot, oh yeah, I'm definitely in my car.
Sitting in your car, editing video.
With my dog pressing half the space.
I can't even imagine.
Oh no, I
cannot
either.
even imagine. And yet
The
you do
good
it.
thing is it works as a sound booth. So I actually, even when I'm staying at a friend's house or something, I grab my laptop and I head back to the car to do my audio because it's just the most reliable place for me.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Guys, if you don't subscribe to Nick, subscribe to him. I put the link earlier. Magplanner.com. That'll get to the YouTube, right?
So on YouTube, I'm at Magplanner. I actually did want to give a shout out to my friends Rich and Ron. Ron runs Mind Tip Games. It's a live game show on TikTok. They both were integral in getting my website set up. Rich did the initial hosting and getting the web domain, and then Ron did all the coding for it. And so it's up and running now, themagplanner.com. It connects to my YouTube account. It has the intro video, and then it also has all the maps along the way. So every state that I've completed, it has you can select a drop down to see the routing through that state, as well as the target list for it. As this progresses, I'm going to keep adding the states in, of course. And then by the time this is over, I'll have all 50 states in there because I'm going to load my custom maps in there as well. The ones that weren't part of this trip will just be blank, or I might load some previous trips that I have some data on as well.
Amazing. I got more questions from listeners here. Sorry, I'm gonna pop these off to you. Any interactions with police officers on this long journey you've had so far?
Oh, I get pulled over all the time. I'm super suspicious looking. I'm wearing gloves, a tactical vest. I'm just like, hey, over here, over here. But the encounters are very good. I've actually, through the years, I've been geocaching because we geocached all night long. I've probably been stopped by police in all 50 states. And there's just kind of a way to handle the interactions of the police. Like you pull all the way off the road so they're not hanging off the edge of the highway. You keep your hands on the steering wheel until they get to the side of the car. When you reach into your pocket, you let them know what you're going to do. I'm going to reach in my pocket, my license, insurance, registration. All those little things add up to good encounters. There's no surprises, no jumpy moments, anything like that. And so, I mean, we had that one in Nevada where he thought we were a terrorist. But beside that, we really didn't have really bad police encounters.
Have you done Kentucky yet, or all of Kentucky?
We're heading toward that. So we just finished Nebraska today. We're going through next. We're going to go through Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and we're continuing to drop south.
Have you gotten Illinois' oldest?
Probably.
Beverly.
Beverly.
Yes, I definitely got Beverly.
Good. All right, just making sure. What about the Southeast?
We really won't be featuring much to the Southeast. Tennessee is kind of as much as the Southeast as you're going to see. And then from there, Mississippi. Beside that, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, that's all done.
That's all you've done it already. So yeah, all that is done for you. So you basically had almost a third done before you even started, which helps.
I mean, half the counties, but if you look at the map wise, about a third, because there was that whole East Coast plus Nevada.
Yeah, because you're not getting state, you're getting the counties and the pages. That's the time, right?
Yeah, the states are. I was finished with that in 2015. It's been a county game for a long time.
That's amazing. Have you ever put on the? So you don't really open up the live map, do you? You don't really do that.
I do keep the live maps open on CGO. I don't use it a lot though. I tend to rely on my targets, and I kind of only fall onto the live maps if I'm needing to supplement something in there.
So what if there's a live event? Will you go to the event? If there's a live event?
It's happened. And
really?
In Michigan, there was just an ice cream event that just happened to be perfectly timed. And actually that ice cream event led me to meeting Gio Killian the next day, and we got to geocache together. So it really kind of worked out.
Oh, nice. What about you hosting an event? You ever thought of hosting an event?
That's kind of a lot of commitment.
Because it's 2 weeks out, and anything can happen. Yeah, that is kind of a big.
I don't even like to commit to a hotel room in a certain city because I like to be flexible. I'm like, well, what if I'm a day or two past that?
Hosting an end of the trip event.
Oh, end of the trip.
That might be a good idea. Once you narrow down and you got plane tickets, so you know where you're gonna be. Period. Right.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
What's the craziest thing you experienced so far?
The craziest thing that I've experienced so far?
Yep.
I mean, the craziest geocache was the one that had me crawl into that little sewer tunnel. And there's been so many crazy things. To me, the craziest part though is doing that northwest part of Maine with Skeletor 10. I cannot express to you how rural that part of Maine is. Like, I'm sure you've all been through some rural geocaching areas. Mm-hmm. Then go up to the northwest part of Maine on those empty logging roads, and you'll find you're the only person out there, you and the bears, and that's it. And so it got a little creepy because there was, obviously nowhere to stay at night. So we're sleeping out there in the dark woods, and it's all creaking, and Skeletor 10's like, what's that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you have people in the chat room who are volunteering there to host events for you at the end.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take note of these.
There you go. Tony Golden in Kentucky says he would love to host a dinner event at his TB. He has a Travel Bug hotel. Like it's a house. The Travel Bugs, the hotel the TB hotel is a house.
Oh, cool. Maybe it's one I've already got in my plan. I love TB hotels.
Tony, yeah. Tony, give us the GC of it. I can't remember what it is.
Is that one in Kentucky?
That's in Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you got GSM ×2 out in LA. We'll He'll host an event for you.
Yeah. Nick, that's ridiculous. It's
Wait, I
amazing.
want to know.
Oh, sorry.
This is what I want to know. After you're done with this craziness, how are you going to top it? What the heck are you going to do next? I mean, besides
So-
sleep for like 3 months straight.
We've asked ourselves that every year after our geocaching trip. So when we did the ape in Brazil, we're like, how are we going to top this? And then we did something even crazier. But I really, truly think this is it. A full year geocaching on the road through all the counties. I mean, like, what else can you do that's crazier? So there won't be anything over the top beyond this. But the format seems to have been successful. There's obviously people who are interested in kind of the style I want to show. I do intend to continue showing videos. Once I finish this, it won't be at a daily pace by no means. But when I travel through other countries, I'm planning on putting together something for those as well.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Nice.
You need to show people how you did this because I'm sure people are super curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
that'll
sounds
be
like
one of
you're,
the things I focus on when I get to the end of this is I'm going to do a planning series where we just talk about
How-tos.
different aspects of how to do it.
yeah.
Mhm.
It sounds like your planning is a lot like mine when I plan out counties. I have 2 trains of thought. One, it depends on how much time we have. One is just find me the quickest way to get through all of the counties and grab the quickest cache.
Mhm.
And then there's other times where I'll like filter each county, find the caches with the most favorite points in each county and figure out how to get actual good caches instead of just, park and grabs. So, but I also use a spreadsheet with my notes and the page and the county, and it's just easy to see in a tabular format.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like we're very similar there. And my plans are, I mean, they look like this. It's
Oh yeah.
really tiny writing.
Oh,
I got all my handwritten notes on the side, and then I only later convert it to digital.
yeah. That's I could show you. I have some things that look very similar right over there for sure.
Wow.
My past was like that. I'm more into Cache Tour, using Cache Tour nowadays.
Yes. Okay. Nick, do you know Cache Tour?
I do not know.
Oh, Nick, it would change your world.
I'm a fur coat. I don't even know how to say. I need somebody to tell me how that website is really pronounced. Fur coat or fur cot? I don't know.
Forgot.
Anyway, whatever it is, I like it.
Nick, amazing, absolutely amazing. Will you got to do us a favor, if you will. Okay. Once a month, we host a show, Cache or Coffee. It's a call in. People call in. It's the first Wednesday of every month. Would you call in once a month and give us an update on how you're doing?
I will definitely do my best.
It's
If
a
I'm in
commitment. I
place
know.
where I'm
It's a commitment.
near some kind of civilization, I will.
At least occasionally, and people.
Yeah,
people in the,
people love to hear from you and just see how you're doing and how it's going.
Yeah, people in
Yeah.
the chat room are saying this is their favorite show ever, and they need updates. They need to know. But hey, you guys, go follow them on YouTube.
Yeah, follow them on YouTube.
Oh,
Magplanner.
please. It's at Magplanner. And there's one video for every day. So right now we're at 109 videos loaded up there. Plus most of my shorts are my awesome dog. And I'm going to keep those videos coming every day. So you'll be able to keep up with us. It's really just one day behind because I'm putting out the video from yesterday, today, every single day.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
I would love to get you back on the show towards the end, probably in like May. You cool with that? Get you back on near the end of your journey?
Yeah, I'd love to do so.
Yeah, get you back on. We'll touch base again. See how the other side went. The other half of the country went for you.
Just
That's
got a new
amazing how quickly an
subscriber.
hour flies by, isn't it?
It's been over an hour. We're going over. Nick, it's been a pleasure, buddy. It really has. Amazing. My wife is just not. She's super jealous.
Absolutely.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you guys for giving me a chance to join you tonight.
Yeah. Our pleasure. Please. Nick, stay right there. Don't leave. Okay. I'm going to throw you on mute. Do not leave. Okay. Even when I say goodbye, don't leave. You stay on. Chad, pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah. So he just got a new subscriber.
I have a feeling the numbers are going to jump here after tonight.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, so Nick, well done. buddy.
Someday.
So glad we got to we actually had 2 listeners email us. Didn't we?
Yeah. you had
email me,
you had
and then you had to
contact
email
you, and firefighter Skippy contacted me like within a couple days. Like we'd already started the conversations with Nick,
You're like, hey, have you heard of this guy?
and we were like, "Yep, we're
Wow.
working on it."
Chad, we are continuing. We are continuing the guest every week
Mm-hmm.
for October. Next year, Chad, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we got ESAP 2 on. ESAP 2, hey, listener of the show, he's actually won the One Up Me contest
Mhm.
twice, 2-time winner. Guess what he did, Chad?
Well, I know what he did because I'm reading the show notes. But so,
Guys, ESAP 2 and a couple of his buddies found a 20-year-old FTF.
so did they kayak for 17 days through the Canadian wilderness to get to it? Remember that story?
And that's wait, here's the funny part, Chad. That wasn't even it. That wasn't even. I asked
Yeah,
him,
I'm sure
was
this
that
is
one it? He goes, no,
That-
that wasn't it.
no,
that one was an
I know that-
FTF, but not
that
a
was-
Not
20
this
year
one,
old.
not this 20-year-old.
Not the
FTF.
20-year-old.
Yeah, I know that was because that was found before geocaching
Holy
was
mackerel.
20 years old. It was just that's the
20-year-old
story that I remember.
FTF.
That I could think of the oldest, but yeah, that one was an adventure. This one has to be an adventure if it was 20 years.
20 years. Well, we got ESAP coming on. We got all his buddies who he went with. They're all coming on the show next week. Talk
Awesome.
about their 20-year-old FTF hunt. How about that? That's how you end October, Chad,
Yeah.
with a mic drop. Okay. So yes, we got that coming next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, thanks for joining us tonight. It was pretty amazing. Nick, we hope to hear from you soon. At the very least, we will get you back on in like April or May when you're near the end of your journey, right? Because I think it ends in June. Did he say in June? Yeah. Well, we'll get you back on right before it ends to see how you're doing. All right, that's all we got. So let me close the show here. Here we go. Please join us again every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central as we stream live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on our website, geocachingpodcast.com. The archived video versions of our podcasts are available on our website or on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. If you like the show, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe. We really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. If you prefer to watch the show, make sure you click that subscribe or get notified buttons to know exactly when we go live. And hey, if you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $5, you will get a ton of additional information, extra video, extra audio, only available to our patron members. Please head on over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/thegeocaching-podcast. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Cachly, Logwork, FTF Geocacher Magazine, the Max Odds Body Company, Practical Geocaching, Arty Crafted, PatTags.com, Geocaching Adventures LLC, and GeoGo. Please visit our sponsors, and when you make a purchase, you tell them the GCPC sent you. That's all we got this week, so we'll see you next week talking geocaching, taking your phone calls. In the meantime, be good, be safe, hug your loved ones, and we'll talk to you guys next week. And we're clear. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. And we will talk to you guys next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, be well. We'll talk to you.
Right.
Bye-bye.